Okay, so today, we're going to work on the face and the arm, the hand, and maybe the saxophone if we have time. So for the face, same like we did for the other ones. Burnt sienna. I have burnt sienna here, and you can see that this burnt sienna has a little bit of orange in it. That's Winsor and Newton. And white. And because this is really small, I'm not going to use any other colors. I'm just going to use these, except maybe burnt umber for darks. So I'm going to keep it very simple. This guy here has glasses on. We really don't have to do this. I can just ignore the glasses. He has in the reference a beard. We might put that. So we'll see how it goes first. I'm not going to worry about this right now. I'm just going to work on the face first. So before I do anything, I'm going to zoom in a bit so you can see how I'm doing the face. And I'm going to push this underneath the camera so it's it's clear. All right, I can't make it clearer than this. Is it clear? You think? If it's not clear, let me know.
Very, very clear.
All right. So if it's
not... Me too, at least, yeah.
Okay. So if at one point it's not clear, please let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a really small round brush. It is number 0. And I have a couple here. Number 1, number 0, 2. I go back and forth. So I keep them ready just in case I need to use them. Actually, yeah, number 0. All right, let's do this. So I'm going to use a medium tone so I can go light and dark. I'm not going to start with a light color. Medium tone is good. This is going to dry darker. So I'm keeping in mind that this is going to dry darker. It might dry darker and maybe a bit orangey, but that's okay. All right, I am going to ignore the glasses right now, and I'm going to...
Are you going to put them on later?
Maybe, if it's an easy thing to do. Okay. If I find that it's going to be an easy... Because it's so small. It's nice to put them. I will try to put them. Actually, I'll try.
Yeah.
So now I'm just covering the canvas. I will have to probably use the color of the door for shaping the face if at one point I lose the shape. Sorry, I have to turn this around for 1 minute. You know, when you're doing something like this, it's so easy to lose the shape. One brush stroke and you lose the nose. I'm going to need a bit of green, just in case. All right. So yeah, let's take some green for now, and I have to see. Oh, that's better. There. All right, that's good. He's blowing, so it's the movement of his mouth. His lips are, you don't see the lips that much. This is burnt umber. So I'm going to take a little bit of burnt umber right now with the color of the skin on it. It's going to darken a bit some areas. Now I'm going to darken where the eyes are. I'm going to darken a bit right here. This is where the nose is. I'm going to eventually adjust all of these lines and brush strokes. But this would give me an idea about proportions. Now he does have a mustache. And a beard. So I try to simplify the whole thing. This is really tiny, so I try to simplify so it's easier for me to figure out how to put on the rest of the details. So now I have an idea, kind of an idea, a little bit of, and also another thing, because he is using, he's blowing on a saxophone. This part of the chin or the lower part of the face is bigger because he's just all of his cheeks and the lower part are extended. They're bigger. We're not going to go into this. This is too much detail. Let's first, before we do anything, try to highlight a bit so we can get a tiny bit of detail. And again, we don't need too much. So I'm going to highlight the first thing that comes to my mind, which is the nose. So I'm going to highlight the nose. Highlight this part. I'm going to keep this in between the forehead and the nose dark because it dips in, like it goes in, so it's not highlighted that much. Probably I'm going to be putting glasses on his eyes, so now I'm going to put highlights right here and leave in between a bit darker. Let me adjust the adjust something here. I'm gonna pause. Okay, so he has a mustache, and I am going to try to make it not heavy, you know, a heavy, dark kind of. I'm going to take white and skin tone. I need to have darker skin tone right there. And this is where his lip and underneath the lip. So the lip right there, of course there's no hair on his lip, lower section. And I'm going to soften the hairline of the beard so it's not heavy. I'm going to put first layer for the hair and let it dry because I need to cover that, this part. It helps seeing the whole thing done.
What color is the hair?
Burnt umber. I'm just putting burnt umber first layer.
Okay.
And then I'm going to highlight it.
Yeah, yeah.
In the reference, you see this part is bigger, fuller. We can do that, but I don't think there's a. It's not that necessary to make it that big. It's fine though, the way it is right now. It's enough. Now I'm going, meanwhile, while this is drying, actually maybe I can do it right now. I'm going to highlight a bit. So for highlighting the hair, I'm going to put a bit of yellow ochre. I'm putting yellow ochre with white, highlighting the, using burnt umber, just because you see, when you put white with burnt umber, it's dull. So if you put a bit of yellow ochre, the hair, the color will stay. That's too light. It's too light. Because if I highlight it too much at first, it's going to look funny. his hair is over his ear. Perfect. I don't have to worry about the ear. All right. Let it dry a bit so we can go back to this and highlight it. Meanwhile, I'm going to take burnt sienna, white. Gonna pay attention to the fingers. So for now, I'm just filling the color in. No highlights, nothing for now. All right, let's take burnt umber. Add a bit of burnt umber to the skin tone that I'm using right now. And do the hand or the arm in the back. It should be a bit darker. And let it dry. This is hard. Miniature face. A few brush strokes. You need, get the bit of the features. Whoops. All right, I'm gonna put glasses on.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
I don't know. We'll see.
It's better.
Well, yeah, it is better. But I got a big drop of water. Try to watch and see how it looks in the reference. Okay, so this is a bit too far out. Should go in a bit. I'm going to remove this. Remove all of that. It's better to watch the whole thing before you do anything, because I'm removing some of the stuff I put. Watch the video. Alright. Alright, so the front is like this. Then it turns out a bit. Okay. Right, now I can adjust the rim and make it smaller, narrower by adding skin tone around. So I'm just kind of alright. Now I'm going to take a little bit of burnt umber and put a hint of an eye in there, like something that looks like a darker color, but more like what I'm using is glaze. It's not heavy paint. It's behind glass. I have to be careful how much I put in there. I mean, in the reference, you can hardly see the eye. Oh, that's better. I think it might be a little bit high in here. It could take a bit of like lowering upper part. Yeah, I think so. All right, let's try. How much is this gonna take? This is already 27 minutes. Yes, yes, much better, much better. Lowering the rim of the sun of the glasses down. Dry a bit and then I'll put the rim again. Meanwhile, let's highlight the arm. I'm going to start from here. Mid-tone, highlight mid-tone, because the color, the paint is dry already. So I'm trying to wet it a bit so I can mix, I can blend. Highlight, mid-tone, because highlight, then mid-tone. You can't, the highlight can't, you don't want the highlight to go all the way down. Right, all right, let's do the hand. His other finger, he has a thumb, is right there. But you can hardly see it in the picture, in the reference. Now, this is kind of, the colors or the values are getting exactly the same kind of. So that's okay. I am highlighting, so I'm going to be adjusting the values very soon. What I am really now trying to make sure is the shape of the hand is right. It's the right shape. And I will do the all of the adjusting of the values later on. Burnt umber. This part of his hand should be darker. Now, take a little bit more of highlight, white and burnt sienna and white. And go back to fingers. The last one here should be a little bit darker. So I'm going to add a tiny bit of burnt umber. Softening the highlight with a bit of burnt umber. And when I say burnt umber, it's more like a glaze. It's not a heavy color. This is not that. Once we put the saxophone, we paint the saxophone, it'll look better. This finger here is higher than these. Index, right? Is it called index? Okay, so I have highlight, medium, dark. I'm going to soften the dark a bit by using burnt umber with the color of the skin tone. I'm going to soften this a bit. You know, acrylic dries darker and it dries sharp, harsh. So sometimes, you know, you just need to go back and adjust your values. You can hardly see it right now because we haven't done the shirt yet. Once the shirt is done, you will see the darks in there. Okay, that's good. Go back to the glasses, and I'm just going to put with burnt umber just a bit of that rim, if I can. I think I need more burnt umber. All right, it's good. Let's highlight
Really good.
Let's highlight the hair. Thank you. Highlight the hair. I'm gonna need some black. A little bit of white with burnt umber. Highlight just kind of part, gives you that shiny look. Keep my brush wet because that's what give me strands. Otherwise the paint will blob. Touch of black with burnt umber just to get some contrast. And it's more like a glaze. It's not a heavy. I'll let it dry and then I'll adjust it. All right, I'm gonna pause. Okay, so now I have most of the hand done. I have a bit of burnt umber. I'm gonna, burnt umber, burnt sienna mixed together. It's more like a glaze. I'm gonna go in between the fingers and darken a bit to just separate and give them a shape. Now, if I am working with a bigger canvas, I would give the fingers a little bit of a darken a bit the value. If I do it now with this size, it might look okay, but it might look as well weird. So when I'm working with small size, I try my best to simplify as much as I can. So because it's really hard when you're working with a small size to control your values, to get what you want, to get the look that you want. But, a little bit of highlights and a little bit of mostly I find if I use glazing instead of heavy paint, it works better. Make your color a little bit transparent. Instead of having a dark color in here, I have a kind of a transparent dark in here, in there. And it works much better. Now, we don't have to put too much detail in there. I'm going to switch now. This is okay. This is done. We don't need more than that. I'm going to switch now and start working on the saxophone. Saxophone, I'm going to use raw umber and cadmium yellow light. So, for the color of the saxophone, raw umber, cadmium yellow light, raw umber, and I'm going to try to simplify. Change my brush into a little bit of a bigger one. I'm going to mix these two together. It's a brass, kind of darker colored brass in there. First layer. Because there's a dark door behind it, a dark color, I'm going to have to put a lighter color first, and then I'm going to darken this. So this is mid-tone. I'm going to do a kind of suggestion of detail in there. This is way too detailed. Oh, I missed an arm there. The hand in the back. Uh-oh. All right. While this is drying, I will put the hand or arm in the back. All right, let's put this for now. One of my students is a professional musician. He said to me that these three instruments, they don't go together.
Oh.
It should have been a fiddle instead of this. It should have been the other one, the original. Anyway. Yeah.
But hey, who knows? They're jamming.
Yeah, they're jamming. So I said, too late. Too late to change now.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you got the two guys. I can interpret this. The two guys are playing, and the saxophone does a little solo. You know?
Could be. Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
They're not together. They're not together. It's like the two guys. They do, and then the other guy does his, you know, his own thing, and voila.
Yep.
And you know what?
We're good.
I could make a story out of anything.
That's true.
Russ says to me, like, I don't need to hear the backstory of anything. Just give me the facts, because he's logical, right? And I'm prepared to give you the whole story.
Well, that's that's great imagination.
I suppose.
Right? I guess. I know. Why not?
I see it. I see it. I'm not a musician, maybe that's why.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm a storyteller.
That's good. All right. Backhand is done. Let's go back to the saxophone. All right. Now, let's see. Wow, it's drawing really dark. Okay. Well, good. I don't need to darken, so I'm going to take more yellow. Add more yellow. Wow. Next time I choose a musician, I'm going to pay more attention to the instrument. This is really a lot of detail in here. So, no problem. We're going to kind of take advantage of the dark and just put suggestion.
You know that Dave Brubeck Cake 5? That sounds like that could be something they could be playing.
Oh, what is that?
It's a jazzy tune. So they
Oh.
have saxophone, a big, like a cello background, and they have drums, but the guitar could also be like a drum if you hit it in a certain way.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could work.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, I think that you don't have to think traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that there's who knows, the violinist could have gotten sick. Okay, so they needed time. I mean,
yeah, why not?
You definitely can work with this.
Why not?
Are you recording?
Yeah. It's a nice conversation.
Yeah.
About music and music instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We might need a bit of black. I have a feeling we're going to need a little bit of black in here. All right, let's do that. Because I'm not getting enough contrast. I'm mixing raw umber and a bit of black. And I'm just going to come here and give it a bit of darks here and there. So I'll get a bit of contrast. I'm going to be highlighting too, so it's not only what you see. I'm going to be highlighting with more of, yellow and white and eventually. This is white right now. I'm adding it to the yellow and raw umber. Let's take a bit of, give it a bit of highlights here and there, just to give it some shiny look. I'm really trying to simplify this as much as I can. Take a little bit of in between color. This is a very strong cut in here, and it looks funny. So I'm just gonna try to see if I can soften this a bit, but at the same time I don't want to lose the contrast, the strong dark in here. I'm gonna add a little kind of a stronger highlights in here. and in here. I could have a reference of a saxophone right next to me, but I don't want to, because the more detail I see, the more I'm going to be tempted to put detail, and it's going to be harder and harder to paint. This is enough. We don't need more than that. We don't need to show more than this. I'll let it dry, and I doubt I'm going to, add anything to it, but I'll try not to get tempted to add more stuff. All right, I'm going to stop recording. I think we're okay. We're done for tonight. Okay, so this is where we're at this week. Next week we'll work on his clothes and shoes, guitar, and see if we can finish by next week.